welcome to some more Path of Exile. It is the League of Kalandra, Kalandra's League. It is day, kind of 2 for me. Yeah, pretty much 2. Yeah, it's almost exactly 2 days since the league started. It's 48 hours plus 32 minutes. Yeah, league's been going pretty well so far. Well, it started well, kind of tailed off towards the campaign end, and now has really had a kick in the ass of speed and power and general goodness. So yeah, we're leveling this champion corrupting fever build, which is Rutu's build, actually updated for the latest. If I just switch to this, yeah, updated. I think you can see that still. Possibly, no, maybe not. Yeah, I won't show you the POV in that case. But yeah, it's been updated for this situation of the game. He's changed the leveling over, so, well, maybe he always did this and I just ignored it last time. Last time I played this build was the previous league, and leveling was smooth, as it usually is when you're leveling your 4th or 5th character. This league, not really smooth, not so much with the smooth. I really hate Spectral Helix, which is the leveling skill, which I may have just mispronounced previously, but that's what it is. Spectral Helix is painful. I don't like it. If I do this again, I'm gonna have to find an alternative. Anything, frankly. Possibly, I was thinking about maybe Flicker Strike, which is a bit insane, or Bone Shatter. I did a very good leveling build with Bone Shatter, and that's physical and bleed. That should fit with this talent tree, I would hope, reasonably well. Anything other than fucking Spectral fucking Helix. But yeah, so it's been going pretty well. Once we actually got to this point, so level 68, or possibly 69, I made the switch. Had serious gear shortages and serious map shortages to start out, so I just went to the end of the campaign, farmed up some more stuff, got a few more map drops, which didn't do a lot for me, but I did collect. Over the course of that, I picked up enough XP to level up just a bit, and then enough gear that it was only terrible, and then started maps and managed to scrape together a few other bits and pieces. Yeah, but I made the switch. I actually made the switch even when my resists were not great. I'd improved them quite a lot, but my lightning res was still low. It still is my worst. These should be 75 all the way. We're 74, 75, 70. So yeah, it's not so great, but I mean it was lovable. I had 30% lightning resist, and anything doing lightning damage was just lethal. So yeah, as I say, went back to the campaign, did some farming, did some blood aqueducts, and then made the switch over. And once I made the switch over, that's what I had to do. I had to save up for haemophilia. I wasn't going to switch until I got haemophilia. I don't have Poet's Pen. Poet's Pen prices are ridiculous this league, because the market's completely screwed. But I do have this very, very basic wand I threw one of my few essences on. I actually bought this wand from a vendor in one of the earlier acts. So yeah, there's that. I just went back to the first half of the game, because I had to go that low because I didn't have any 1-drops and I don't have any int really to speak of. So all of the top level ones couldn't use. But yeah, so threw an essence on it to get more spell damage. The rest is just whatever it came out with. I threw the only craft on it I could. And this is spell slinging Reap and Exsanguinate, so that is pretty much how this build works. And this build is amazing. So you cast Corrupting Fever, which is a kind of self debuff, but then which you can heal up. But it lasts for a period of time, and as you hit monsters, so if you cast it and then start hitting monsters, with various abilities, then they catch Corrupting Fever, and that sort of spreads and gives them a dot over time. As the trigger to give them Corrupting Fever, because we sort of trigger it on ourselves with that, but we still have to attack something to cause it to happen, we then use Kinetic Blast, which is the large blue shockwave. So that's got really nice AoE. And then Spellslinger kicks in at the same time and triggers Exsanguinate and Reap. Now, Exsanguinate is that sort of shock of blood. Reap, which you may not be able to see, is the sort of scything motion left to right. So we've actually got 3 skills going off there in order to apply a 4th. So it's a little complicated. You actually have to... Spellslinger has a reservation, so we actually have to reserve a good portion of our mana to get that working. And we got some banners, some defense, and more physical damage from auras. The rest of it's pretty basic. I have thrown in... I'm not actually sure this... I think this is working. I'm sure it worked on a boss. But I have thrown in... I wanted a Culling Strike. You're supposed to have a 4-link set of... a second set of Haemophilia with Frenzy, Culling Strike, Maim, Life Tap, so you can just swap out your gloves when you hit a boss, and then use Frenzy on bosses, because Frenzy is a slightly more directed attack. It gives you faster attack speed. Maim will hamper the boss, and Culling Strike kills him at 10%, but I'm not doing that because I haven't got the gems leveled yet, and if I stick them in a spare set of gloves in my inventory, they won't level except when I'm on a boss, which means they'll level never. Also, I can't be bothered, but I did fancy having Culling Strike, so I found the Power Siphon, which just has Culling Strike. I'm a bit socket limited, so it saves me having a Culling Strike support. So you may not be able to tell, but that's Kinetic Blast. That is Power Siphon, which is coincidentally triggering my various stuff. But that's not what it's for. It's just there for Culling Strike. So yeah. So that's going pretty well. Gear is still garbage. I've got a minion ring on because I needed something with int and resist, at least a resist. And that's the best we've got. Trips over this, which is actually brilliant. It just fell off something before maps, I think. Yeah, level 64. Yeah, that's brilliant. +1 physical, decent life, crit which does nothing, energy shield which does nothing, 3% resist which is fairly useless, stun block recovery which is not brilliant, the block's a bit crap, so it's not that great, but it does have life and +1 physical, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, that's rubbish. I got a 6-link off the new, so they've revamped Arch Nemesis. They've made the frequency of the mobs lower, and the average elite actually feels easier to me, but that may just be because this build is awesome. But and I'm at a lower tier of maps at the moment. But yeah, but they produce the stupidness of like huge numbers of rares, in exchange for which they've actually made rares more powerful. But they've also made the loot better. So yeah, that's definitely good. One of the new special combinations of rares with a certain couple of Arch Nemesis mobs dropped me a 6-link in Blood Aqueducts, I think it was, which is possibly even earlier. Yeah, item level 57. So that was pretty tasty. So yeah, it didn't really matter what it had. I think I used a random essence on it because it was actually normal quality. So yeah, it's pretty arbitrary stats, but that gives me I only need a 5-link. But I've thrown War Banner in here because it doesn't do any harm, and I was supposed to do a 5-1 with War Banner, but yeah, whatever. It's fine. The other gems can't support War Banner anyway. I haven't got the sort of travel skill widget or arcane surge, which you're sort of supposed to have. I don't have that yet. I'm not really that bothered. I can't use my vulnerability curse because my reservation is
My spirit is spent.
is not sufficiently good. So yeah, I need more mana or better reservation. The nerf to mana reservation efficiency has been slightly painful, but luckily Route 2's worked around it by just going all the way across to Charisma. It's a fairly large detour, instead of just relying on this mastery to get the increased mana reservation efficiency, which is what we did before. So yeah, he's adapted that very well. Thanks, Rue. But yeah, so it's going pretty well. Let's do a map. Let's, because I don't think we've been to the Moon Temple yet. Our atlas is in very early shape. Really not very much has been done yet. So yeah, but that's fine. That's already been chanted up. I don't really want the boss more powerful. That seems fine. Right, we've finished Frozen Cabins. We are doing Moon Temple. Engage. Right. So yeah, it's going pretty well. I mean, they have done quite scary things to the economy this league. I would, by my standards, already be rich, normally, because I got an Exalt drop pretty much the instant I got to maps, which is a hell of a lot richer than I would be normally. However, Exalts are now worth nothing. Rather than, you know, the best part of 200 Chaos as they were last time. Exalts are worth nothing. Instead, Divines are the new Exalt from a trade league point of view. Whereas Divines were like 5 Chaos before, now an Exalt is 10 Chaos. So, yeah. So Divines are the new Exalts. I am not dealing with Danig. Yeah. So that's been interesting. I haven't found a Divine yet, so not actually rich. But it did mean that I actually... Exalts now only have one use. It used to be you could use them for meta crafting, and that was one of the reasons they were so expensive. But now that cost has to be paid with Divines instead, which is why Divines have gone up in price and why Exalts have gone down in price, because now the only thing you can use Exalts for is throwing an extra random mod on an item if it doesn't currently have 6 mods. So, yeah. So that's fairly garbage. So I did actually just burn the Exalt that I got. I just threw a random mod on here, which came up as 51% increased evasion rating, so yay. Which is why Exalts are worthless. This is the league mechanic. You build yourself a sort of adventure. It's kind of a choose your own adventure thing. I would like it if everyone would stop trying to kill me. Yeah, so we're going to start here. This is a logical map of the area we'll actually get to. So yeah, you kind of start and you develop this. You can swap tiles around. You decide what monsters are going to appear. And then at the end you get a special reward, which is a fancy ring with weird Scourge-style mods, except different. So that's pretty nice. Let's have packs of crabs. And let's have mining veins. Infested creatures. Reflection of death. Yeah, go on then. Cool. One left and then we get to run this. This is going to be slightly difficult. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard some people dissing this expansion, which is Lake of Kalandra, but I'm liking it. I mean, I haven't got that high yet, so I don't know how good or bad the loot really is, but...
A worthy opponent!
If it's underpowered, I suspect it'll get buffed. And if it's not, people will have to suck it up, I guess. So yeah, that's the boss. Let's just go clear up elsewhere. Yeah, I tried this build out towards the end of last league, and it's actually better than I remember. This guy is an asshole. But, oh, he's dropped special loot. See, that is the new arch nemesis mechanic. Which is they drop special loot. So this has just dropped a bunch of fractured items. Not many, because we're in low tier maps, but yeah. That was marginally dangerous. That's fine. Are we clear yet? Not quite. I am actually 100%ing these maps, which I will stop doing at some stage. I haven't really sorted my flasks out yet. I did do some basic crafting and beast crafting on my flask just to get a half decent prefix, which rolled singly, and then beastcraft the suffix, which I often forget to do. I'm glad I did remember. Yeah.
I can't do this just yet.
So, yeah, did some basic class crafting, but haven't actually fixed most of them yet. I don't have the relevant orbs to do anything clever. Right. Nice, thank you. See, at this point, in theory, I should switch to Frenzy. Except, I don't have it ready. And we'll tap this completes. The bonus round is complete. Crafting recipe. Special defenses. Unlocked. Nice. So, yeah. And we're working our way up the passive tree. Just going to go for all the various shaping those, and yeah, this one next, and probably up here. And then not sure where we're going. Oh, what else has happened? So, yeah. I mean, this league, they've redone Beyond, so I might actually spec into Beyond, because Beyond is now not a piece of shit. It uses Scourge monsters, which is awesome. Apparently the juicers are unhappy, I don't really care. They've redone Harvest, which, yeah, actually looks much improved, except things are still a bit too tank at the low level. The monsters are still a bit hard, and now you collect... you don't get random crafts from Harvest. Instead, you get sort of Harvest beer tokens, which you can spend later to actually pick up crafts. But the prices are so expensive that you're actually getting orders of magnitude less crafts than before. But on the plus side, you do get to choose what they are, which I guess is why they're a lot less. Sears has said he thinks they should be worth 10 times more. Or you should get 10 times more beer tokens from each harvest. I think that might be a bit on the excessive side, but he's got a point. I mean, 5 to 10 times, somewhere around there. If we ask for 10, maybe we'll get 5. May not get anything. I suspect GGG want to keep a lid on it because... but yeah, I mean, some of the crafts, you know, I picked up 50 beer tokens, which is enough for one craft, one of the most basic crafts from a single harvest. Previously, I'd probably get 3 of those of a random sort from every patch of every harvest. So yeah, but you would only get the one you wanted, maybe one every 3 harvests or similar. But you'd still get a load of stuff you could use on other gear, and now you get virtually nothing. So yeah, that's about 50 times worse than it was in terms of just being able to make random sets of gear randomly better. I don't know how much worse it is in terms of actually upgrading the gear that you want to upgrade using mods effects that you can now effectively specifically target. But yeah, anyway, it's changed. The crazy thing is that some of the prices, I mean, actually we can leave now, so let's leave. The prices are a bit nuts. So I mean, now the horticulture station, let's just look at the cheap one. So yeah, fire modifier. You used to get 3 or 4 of those at a time when you rolled them, which was every few harvests, and you'd get the others if you didn't get those. So you'd get, coal, lightning, you'd get all of these. You'd always get several of these in an individual harvest. It was just random which was which. Now you might get enough tokens for 1, so it has got noticeably worse. But I'd never seen. So there are crafts in Harvest that I'd never seen. For example, fracturing a random mod. That was so vanishingly rare, I'd never seen it ever. Now, it's 50,000 units, bearing in mind the cheap craft is 50, so it's 1,000 times rarer. I would say that's an improvement, relatively speaking, because certainly these weren't, mic adjustment, these weren't only 1,000 times less rare before than the basic one. They were much rarer than that, I think, because I used to see these constantly, so dozens of them in an individual harvest, random ones, but dozens of them. And so you do a bunch of harvests, you could easily have 1,000 of those in 100 harvests or something less, much less. So I mean, relatively speaking, that's much cheaper, and I might actually ever get to use it. The downside is it is 1,000 harvests now before you get the chance to use it, but at least you do get the chance. You know that you will get it eventually. So yeah, that's changed. That's interesting. And yeah, all of these costs are now paid in divines. I don't think we've even got the crafts that we need yet that would cost a divine orb, but when we do, they do cost a divine. But yeah, so League going pretty well. Good leveling experience early on, tailed off towards the end, lamentable at the end of the campaign. Really must remember not to level with Spectral Helix again, even if the build creator recommends it. I'm not going to do it. Can't stand it. Gearing a little rough. However, once I made the jump, yeah, it's been pretty good. It was hilarious how much these gloves cost. I mean, normally they're a couple of chaos, maybe 5 chaos at League start. These were like 15C, something like that, 15 chaos. So, so I've been chaos recipeing my way to victory, selling full unidentified batches of gear between level 65 and 74, I think it is, to get 2 chaos at a time. I'm just short on jewellery at the moment. I've got tons of everything else. But yeah, and I found a few C. So yeah, so that was interesting. Poet's Pen is currently about 2 divines. It's just about 200 chaos, which is crazy. I had hoped to be able to farm it with a div card. Poet's Pen being a unique wand that has the same effect as Spellslinger, but without all of the disadvantages and actually with some better advantages. I was hoping to div card farm that, but don't think it's very common based on the price of Poet's Pen. If it is really common, I just haven't found one yet, then I might end up buying maps and farming the div card and selling them. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't think it's really common, so I think it's a waste of money. Anyway, yeah, so day 2 going well. Early day 1 was great. Late day 1, a bit rough. Early day 2, very rough. Late day 2, pretty awesome. So, yeah, Lake of Kalandra, general success. That's all I've got to say for now. In the meantime, cheerio.